Okay, in this video I want to show a few different aspects of creating a satin stitch. There's many people they having issues with converting the lines to a satin and how to fix some of these things and how I like creating the satin stitch. So I have here a few rectangles, so I'll just go and select them for a minute and I'll delete those, and then we'll go through a few of the rectangles. Just create a simple rectangle and turn off the fill, and we'll give it a stroke. And the stroke, I'm gonna go and set that to 3 mil. And now I'm gonna go and select it, make a duplicate for a minute, and then we'll do 3 different ways of creating the satin. So now you have 3 rectangle objects. They first need to be converted into a path. So now they are all a path. As you can see, we can see all the nodes, and whichever one we selecting. There we can see the 4 nodes in the corners. Okay, so now we go and take the first one, and let's go select the first one, and we go extension, ink stitch, satin tools, convert line to satin. And I'll zoom in a little more on this one. As we can see, we have now 2 separate objects. Ink stitch splits lines quite often in multiple places. So in order to fix these and to get a good corner, here are many ways you can deal with it. There you can go and use the node select tool, and we can select these nodes. Oh, I only needed the one. And we can go and manipulate these nodes so that we're getting a better corner. So that can be done. Adjusting the nodes, but that can be tedious work to get that properly. And also what we get with this way, it would start and finish in a corner, and I like that a satin stitch finishes in a straight section of the whole contour. So I don't want it to finish in a corner. So then a second option what we have is, since I want to split it in a straight section, then I can take this one and I can go and add some more nodes. And I want to show you here something also. This one, now I'm gonna go and select this node, and I'll split at a node, and now I go and extension, ink stitch, satin tools, convert line to satin. Now we can see we have all 4 corners are nicely created with sharp corners, and we don't have to make any adjustments in the corner. But with this one there are other issues. Also, as I'm selecting here the one, we can see it is still split up in two parts. So I'll go and undo the move for a moment. I want to keep it in the position. And now I'll show you the difference between these two. So we'll go to Extension, Ink Stitch, and we go to the params. And see if I can get this. Now you can see here, you can see that the corners they are a little bit different, and that is because of the I'll move this one over on my other screen for a moment so I can explain a few things with what we have on Inkscape. And here we can see there the corners are being controlled with these rungs, and that is why we get that this corner is a little more open and these corners are more closed, and that's the same with these rungs, the same thing, that things are different. Now I want to show you now in the second one, in this rectangle, we created the extra nodes and we split it at a node in a straight section, and we ended up with still two parts. Now I want you to have a look at this corner here. As you can see, that is the point where I did a split, and we see that the ink stitch created an extra line there, and the stitches are not continuing in the way they should be. It goes around the corner and then it takes a curve and it starts on another curve again and starts going straight. So that is not working properly either. So we have to be careful how and what we creating these satin stitches. And let me see. As you can see, all the corners are all even. They can be manipulated a little bit with adjusting the rails, the rungs. So we'll go now to the next one, and I will show you a few more odds and ends. So I'll cancel out of the params for a moment. Now I'm going to show you what happened, why we had those curves in that section. And as we moving in really close, we can see, as you can see here, this node that's got a black outline. So that is a single node. This node that's got no black outline, and that means there are two nodes on top of each other. So as I'm dragging one node, now I can see a node with a black outline underneath there, and this one has got a black outline. And that is the reason why we were getting that curve in that corner. So this node needs to be deleted. So it needs to be selected, and then we delete it. And that is the same here. We can see here are two nodes on top of each other, and that one needs to be deleted. And now you can see that that line has disappeared, and that is the same here. We can see there is an extra node, and some of these things, they especially have evolved with the new Inkscape. So so we delete those, and then we're resolving some of these issues. Let me see what else. Also, then some people, what they do is, let me see, gotta select it, and so now what can be done is also, if we go back to the node select, and we're holding down the shift key, and now we have both objects selected and the nodes are visible. We can draw a box around these two nodes and we can join these nodes and join the nodes there. And now we think that we have everything connected. And let's go and give that one a try, because with the new Inkscape there is a possibility, and I hope it is gonna show right now. We go to the params again, no, yeah, as you can see now there is all of a sudden, and there is a jump, and we do not want that. So what is happening, and this is especially with the new Inkscape that seems to happen, and so we cancel, and there is one of the rungs, and sometimes it can be multiple, and as you can see in the objects panel there are two paths. So we go, let me see, they are both selected, path, combine. So now they are both combined into one object, and let's see what we get now. Params again, and I'll move my settings one over on my other screen for a moment. And now you can see now that satin is all the way around. So we have to be careful that all the rails and the rungs are all combined. So now we go to our last rectangle. What can be done? So this is also just a 3mm stroke. Then what can be done is we can go path, stroke to path, and nothing seems to have happened. But when we go to the node select, now we can see there are nodes on the inside and nodes on the outside. Then this node I want to get rid of, and here I'm holding down the control key, and I want to make sure that those are straight, so I get rid of those arms. So now I can go and create two lines right away by turning off the fill, and now I give it a stroke, and the stroke I'll make that a little smaller. Then what I go and do is path, break apart, and if I now deselect and reselect, now I can see we have two separate paths. So now I can go on this one, on the inner path, I create a node and I split it at a node. I create a node on that one and also make a split there. Now I can go and create my rungs, and I can create as many as I want, depending what I want, how I want to control the stitch angles for in the corners. But this is just for showing some aspects. So now I go and select all of these items, so, and then go path, combine, and now I can go extension, ink stitch, params, and then we get always the running stitch along the path. So then what we have to do is we have to change here. Oh, I forgot one aspect. So if you're getting this kind of screen, and the reason for that is because of the path direction. So I'll cancel out of here for a moment and edit, undo. So before we go and combine, we have to make sure that I'll show you in the, I'll zoom in here and I'll select the inner line, and you can see the, let me see now, where do I see? Here we can see the direction of the stroke. There's a little arrow, and the outside one we can see there is the direction arrow, and that one is going the opposite direction. So now what we have to do is we have to select one of these lines, and we go path and reverse. So we have to make sure that both lines go in the same direction. So now everything can be selected, and now we can go path, combine, then extension, ink stitch, params, and then we have that running stitch again, so we just take the check mark off, and now we can go into the satin column, and there you can see we go all the way around with a nice satin column. Then we can go and we can set our underlay if we so desire. Now I want to show you something with the satin stitch. We have now, with the newest version of ink stitch, we have a short stitch inset in the params and the short stitch distance. These two numbers become quite interesting. If your zigzag peak to peak, so that is a distance from this stitch to that stitch, and the short stitch distance, if they are the same, so now I will go and make it a 4. As you can see, we're getting now a lot of these stitches over here, and they have an inset, and the inset is here at 15%. So if I make that 25%, then you can see they are set in further, and here we see it, the whole top edge is inset. So, and we can control that a little bit with our rungs to eliminate those insets on the straight, but that we have it only in the corner. If I go here to backspace 3.5, now you can see we get it only here in a area. So in that way, where you're putting your rungs becomes fairly important, and that you can create all your corners evenly on where do you place your rungs and how you place them. And now if that number is higher than your peak to peak, now you can see this way we can even create different effects with our satin stitch. Now we have the short stitch distance number is bigger than the zigzag spacing. So if I make the zigzag spacing here 0.3, oh, that was the 0.3. That way we can create a different effect with our satin stitch. And so yeah, this number, when it's shorter or smaller than the zigzag spacing, then you get that it's only on the, and some of the effects, depending a little bit on, you won't see that much of a difference, so you have to play with these numbers in order to see how big of an effect it will have. And the short stitch distance, backspace 2.8. Now you can see, now you're getting, so the closer you are to the zigzag spacing, the more stitches you're gonna have that they are inset. Okay, let me see. I think that is about all I want to make you aware of for now. So you can create more rungs in your objects, and that way you can control more of your stitch angles, and you can control more the short stitch distance. So I hope this has been informative, and have fun creating, and feel free to ask any questions, and happy digitizing.